Hello and welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. The housing market in turmoil as the impact of rising interest rates causes upset for homeowners.
Now it's coming up to renewal and remortgages, and what we're seeing is a lot of people in some panic about having to pay so much more.
We'll get advice from the consumer magazine, Which, also tonight. A rise in hate crimes against people with disabilities. We'll hear from a victim. From baptisms to body slams, we meet the founder of the Bradford Church of Wrestling, where mental health issues hit the canvas. And the dancers from Leeds auditioning to perform in the famous Moulin Rouge Club in Paris.
After today's wind and rain came many rainbows along with some sunshine this afternoon. I'll be back later in the programme with a full detailed forecast for the weekend.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Homeowners are feeling the impact of rising interest rates 2 weeks on from the mini-budget that saw banks cancel thousands of mortgage offers. It brings an end to 15 years of low interest rates and could mean months of uncertainty in the housing market. In a moment, we'll hear from an expert from the consumer magazine Which, but first here's our business correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
Turbulent times in the housing market after the Chancellor stepped out of his new home, cradling the mini-budget. A financial statement that delivered tax cuts and more borrowing, forcing banks to react, lifting their mortgage rates. First-time buyers Oliver and Saba from Leeds were offered a loan with a 3.8% rate. But last week it was pulled. Their new rate is 5.1%.
Just frustration more than anything else, I think, because it was nothing that we'd done. It was offers that got pulled across the board, and there was nothing that we could do about that situation. It was just frustration and upset, I guess I'd say. We're really lucky for us in the situation that our survey also devalued the property by £10,000. If that hadn't happened, I don't think we'd have been able to afford that increase.
And can I ask, have you viewed anything with us before?
So what impact are higher mortgage rates having on the housing market? At this new estate agency in Leeds, they've sensed a change.
It's made a lot of people nervous. What we're seeing is a lot of people in some panic about having to pay so much more. I mean, people are on, sort of between 1% and 2%, and now you're looking at figures between 5% and 6%. You put a property on at, let's say, for example, 200,000, and people are putting in offers of 230, 240, 250,000 pounds. I think that will stop now. I don't think as many people will be wanting to put in over the asking price.
Outside, a homeowner looking to trade up and make the move to a larger property.
I think it's the unknown at the moment. It feels like there's a lack of control. I don't think anyone really knows where it's going to stop. So right now, I think it would be great if we just felt like a bit more certainty about what's going to happen in the future. Can we take a risk on a bigger property, on a bigger mortgage, not knowing where interest rates are going to go?
Mortgage rates are climbing after 15 years. They're nowhere near the highs of the late 80s, but as a proportion of income, properties are more expensive, so buyers will feel the increases. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Yes, lots of uncertainty, and it's not just potential house buyers who are feeling the pinch. Rents have also been rising steadily. Sam Richardson is the deputy editor of Which, the consumer magazine. I asked him what impact the interest rate rise was having as the rate on a typical 2-year fixed rate mortgage hit 6.1%.
It's important to emphasise here, if you're already on a 2-year fixed mortgage, the rate is not going to go up until you get to the end of your fix. It's more an issue for new homeowners buying now, or people who were on fixed rates, who fixed, say, 2 years ago when rates were a record low, who are now coming to the end of that fix, need to get a new mortgage. You're going to see their repayments go up by hundreds of pounds.
So, I hate to ask this question, but will interest rates continue to rise, do you think?
Well, rates really skyrocketed over the past week, reached about 5% is the absolute minimum you're going to get a mortgage on, but close to 6% if you're a first-time buyer. However, they are levelling out now. Those were sharp rises as lenders reacted to the aftermath of the mini-budget. The Bank of England is forecasting their base rate to go up, which affects the rate that banks will then charge. And the base rate itself would peak at around 6% next year, they're forecasting, with mortgage rates a fair bit above that.
And what about the rental market? We're hearing there's a huge demand for rental properties and prices are going up there.
Yes, rental prices have been on the up since the pandemic. And of course, with the landlords now having to deal with higher mortgage rates, we could see rental prices go even higher. According to Rightmove, rental prices went up around 11 to 12% in the north of England. That's in the year to around June this year. So again, we haven't got the latest numbers. They could be increasing even faster now.
Now, some of our viewers have been in touch. David from Huddersfield has written to us saying the properties his sister was interested in had up to 13 viewers arranged within 24 hours of the property being advertised. And the estate agents described the current demand as crazy, with people offering up to £50 more per month to secure that tenancy.
What I would advise people looking to rent is don't be pushed into the wrong sort of property. Do your checks, make sure you're getting the right documents, make sure you really want to live in that place.
Now, sticking with the rental market, Gemma has been in touch and she said she was served with a Section 21 eviction notice where you're given 2 months to find somewhere to live, and there aren't enough rental properties and there's a huge queue when they do see one to view them.
Section 21 eviction notices were meant to be on the way out. The government had promised to do that, but without a timeline, we're going to see many more people be hit by them in the near future. I would say to Gemma, as well as, the tips I said earlier around just making sure you're getting the right sort of property, not being rushed. It's also a chance maybe to look at whatever, outgoings you can cut in order to make that new property more affordable.
Sam Richardson, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Next tonight, people with disabilities are experiencing increasing levels of hate crime in most police force areas, according to new research by charities. In Yorkshire, the crimes range from name-calling to serious physical assault, with many victims severely affected for months or even years afterwards. In West Yorkshire, there were 1,120 incidents in the past year, a rise of 19% on the previous year. Kathy Killick's been talking to one victim about her abuse and her experiences.
Rachel Flint was born very premature and has lived with multiple disabilities all her life. She's friendly, outgoing and loves poetry and wrestling, but some people only see her disability and choose to abuse her for it.
I was walking down to the shops and a group of youth surrounded me and chanted hate abuse at me. And that was very scary, because if you imagine being sat down and they stood around you, and anything could happen.
That abuse happened here near her home in Leeds and has had a lasting impact on her confidence, especially going outside.
It never really leaves you, to be honest, once it happened. Every opportunity to go out is a potential opportunity where it might happen again, and it might turn violent this time.
How did you feel at the time?
Terrified, and I just wanted to cry and cry and cry, because I feel a responsibility for my carer too, which is 9 times out of 10 female. And if they turn on her, I can't protect her.
Nationally last year, over 11,000 disability hate crimes were recorded, but only 129 resulted in referrals to the Crown Prosecution Service. West Yorkshire had the second highest number of hate crimes recorded at 1,120, a rise of 19%. And of those crimes, over half involved violence.
So the number of reports have increased, but part of that is about people having faith and feeling they can come forward to talk about the hate crimes. So that is a really positive step forward. Overall, we would like the government to invest more funding in the police to allocate a disability liaison officer so that they can look after anyone that comes to them with a hate crime and actually talk them through the whole process.
West Yorkshire Police have been working with charities to improve both reporting hate crimes and working with victims. They've even won an award and now have specially trained officers to help disabled victims.
There's many ways that they can give their evidence to us, and we're there to support them through that journey, from the time that they report it through to actually going to court. And it really is, it can be a difficult journey, and we recognise that. And so we will tailor our service to those victims.
Of course, the police response is only part of the solution. Rachel's safety really depends on all of us, acting with respect and calling out abuse if we see it. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Heartbreaking, isn't it? Thank you to Rachel for sharing her story. Now you're watching Friday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. We meet the Irish Rugby League World Cup team who are setting up camp in Yorkshire. Now, this autumn marks an important milestone for Asians from Uganda because it's 50 years since President Idi Amin ordered them to leave. Many fled the country and settled here in Yorkshire. Well, tomorrow an exhibition will be held in York to mark the anniversary and to celebrate how far the Ugandan Asian community have come since their expulsion. Sabia Pervez has more.
In August 1972, tens of thousands of Asians living in Uganda were given 90 days to leave with just £50 and a suitcase. Dr. Manoj Joshi was 20 years old when he fled Uganda with his family. They'd been living a very comfortable and affluent life, but all that changed overnight under the command of President Idi Amin.
People started disappeared, people were imprisoned, businesses were closed. It just created panic and it created terror in people's minds. When you lived in relative safety overnight, when this thing happens, it just does nothing else but sheer terror.
Dr. Joshi and his family hastily made their way out of Uganda, but it wasn't easy. Along the route, there were many checkpoints manned by Ugandan forces.
My mother's earrings were torn from her ear because one of these soldiers saw these earrings in my mother's ear and just pulled it off. So that was a kind of thing that we endured, and lots of other people endured far worse than we did.
Dr. Joshi and his family worked very hard to build a life and home in this country, and over the past 5 decades, he's achieved huge success and hosted dignitaries and royals from around the world. Shamim Iman from York is doing her best to make sure the lessons of history remain in the present. She's put together an exhibition to mark the 50th anniversary of the Asian expulsion from Uganda, and she started with her own story.
But I was 6 years old. I don't remember much of it. I have traumatic memories about gunshots being fired and somebody shouting, when soldiers are banging on the door, hide the girls under the bed. My brother, who was a year younger than me, he remembers everything. This year he said to me, do you remember the time the soldiers pulled Dad out of the car when Dad was driving? We were all in the car, us children piled in the car, and he says, you were screaming your head off. And I don't even recall that. I just have no recollection of it.
It's only when Shamim arrived in England and felt safe that her memories developed again.
My family were placed in 2 camps. I remember it being really cold, just freezing cold. Imagine coming from Africa, Uganda, the pearl of Africa, and then to freezing cold in October time, cold that you've never experienced. It was tough. The camps were like dormitory style. Everybody was just trying to sort of get out of the camps as quickly as possible and, join family in other parts of the country where they could and just wanted to start work and get on with life.
And what do you hope the exhibition will achieve?
I'm hoping it's given a bit of healing to people who have finally started talking about and telling their story, because for some people it's been a long 50 years.
Some news in brief now, and police have ended a search for the last victim of the Moors murderers with no evidence of human remains being found. Officers began searching Saddleworth Moor for Keith Bennett on Friday after receiving information from a member of the public. Keith was one of 5 youngsters killed by Ian Brady and Myra Hindley in the 1960s. The force said forensic experts were being stood down and the search had now ended. Strike action on the rails will cause further disruption for passengers this weekend. The RMT union, which represents rail workers including guards and signalling staff, is walking out tomorrow in a dispute over pay and job cuts. It's the latest in a series of strikes across the country.
I can't tell you exactly how much more industrial action we may see. All I can advise is for passengers to very carefully check their travel plans for Saturday, only to travel if they have to, and that we will continue to discuss with rail unions to seek to compromise.
Crime author Peter Robinson from West Yorkshire has died at the age of 72. The Leeds-born novelist was best known for his crime novel set in Yorkshire, featuring Detective Chief Inspector Alan Banks. In an announcement today, Robinson's publishers say he died on Tuesday after a brief illness. In a tribute, his editor Carolyn Mays said he was a Yorkshireman to the core. Our thoughts with his family. Now on to sport, and the Rugby League World Cup is fast approaching, and as well as hosting lots of matches here in Yorkshire, plenty of the teams will also be based here. One of those is Ireland, who boast a squad from all spectrums of the game. They've got an Aussie superstar, Super League players and part-timers from the Championship. Tanya's been to meet them.
It doesn't matter what you've won, representing your country is special.
Luke Keary, 5'8", Irish Wolfhounds.
How nice is it to say you're part of the Irish Wolfhounds?
Yeah, it's good. It's special. It's obviously exciting to be in camp, meet all the boys, and yeah, we've had a good couple of days. So I'm looking forward to getting into the tournament.
Luke Keary is a 3-time grand final winner in Australia, but has long wanted to play for Ireland. Injury stopped him in 2017, but not this time.
It's something I've thought about for a long time. Dad's real proud of his heritage. We've still got all the family over there, and yeah, it's something that it's special. It's special to me, and it's special to my dad and his family.
At the other end of the scale is Michael Ward, a part-time player who was a key part of the Batley Bulldogs team that made it to the Championship Grand Final. He's quit his job just to play in this World Cup.
I'm a maths teacher by day. Unfortunately, although the school's been really supportive in the past, a month off was just a bit too much for them to ask. So I've had to give my resignation in and chase my dreams.
That's some commitment.
It is, but it's not really a choice. It's like it's an easy decision in the end, isn't it? You got a chance of playing in a World Cup and fulfilling your dream. I'm sure I'll find another teaching job. There was a shortage of teachers nationally, so I can worry about that in 5 weeks' time.
Culture is key to this squad. He may not sound Irish, but Jed Corcoran was born there, played for them, and has been part of the setup for many years. He wants like-minded players around him.
Been a homegrown man myself, I'm very patriotic about my country, and speaking to some of the values the boys have got, it really stuck out within certain individuals. We have had some previous players in the past which I don't think value the culture. I just want good people within the culture and the environment of Ireland Rugby League that will set that standard then in the tone for the up and coming kids that we've got coming through.
They hope that what they do in this World Cup can raise more interest in the game back in Ireland. The better they do, the longer Michael Ward can put off looking for a new job. Tanya Arnold, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Now, this next story gives new meaning to the saying, wrestling with your beliefs. As well as all the showmanship and spandex of the wrestling ring, the Bradford Church of Wrestling holds sermons and baptisms too. Their story is the focus of a documentary on BBC One tonight, and Gaz and Chris, also known as Angel and Pride, are here now. We'll find out more in a moment, but let's take a look at Pride in action.
I've been coming to GT Academy now for 7 months, and I fall under the asexuality spectrum of the LGBTQ+ community, and this is my wrestling character, Pride.
If you'd have asked me 7 months ago, in 7 months, you're going to be in the ring, I would have called you a liar to your face.
Wow. Gareth, you founded the church. Just tell me about how it came about.
So I've been touring the country for about 4 years, sharing my life story at churches, putting on events, and I've been a wrestler for about 10 years. And I wanted to kind of combine the two things. And I approached Linda Maslin at Fountains Church with this crazy idea of setting up a wrestling school originally. And we did that, and then we thought, let's take over a Sunday service and kind of have a few events. And we did David and Goliath, and we did a bit of a preach afterwards. And we had about 100+ people through the door, and we thought, hang on a minute, I think we're onto something here. And my wife sat with me one night, and she said, this could be like church. Yeah. Let's stick some worship in, let's get some preachers, maybe we can do baptisms. And then the idea was born, and now we're here with this amazing documentary going out tonight, just featuring all of our amazing students and the team at Fountains and some of the work we've been doing.
Yeah, you've never looked back. Chris, tell me about the wrestling. It's not just about the fighting, is it? What more do you get out of it?
Well, I'm not a fighter, but...
Is that the wrong term? Wrestler?
Thank you. Fighting's violent, wrestling's fun. For the audience. No, mostly when I'm in there, I'm spending a lot of quality time with people I know, people I care about, and putting on a show for a large crowd who all get a lot of entertainment out of it.
And what do you get out of it? It's not just being in the ring, is it?
No. During the training itself, I'm basically making friends. It's entertaining me, fitness for me as well, which is a great way of improving your mood. So it's good for mental health, good for physical health, and good for social health.
Yeah.
And also I get to throw people really far.
As we've just seen, I'm not going to argue with you, I have to say. And can we talk about this gorgeous silverware? What's this belt you've got here?
Well, this is the GT Ministries World Heavyweight Championship, which I currently hold. I won this 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
From Jack Johnson at Chronicles, our big yearly annual event, kind of like our WrestleMania. And that's what we do at Fountains, is we have like a wrestling show one month, and the following month is Wrestling Church, and the stories that we tell kind of cross over, and you get to really know the characters of the wrestlers as well.
I'm going to say it's a real interesting mix, isn't it? Wrestling and the church, but it works. You meet once a month, you say?
Yeah. So our next event is October 22nd. That's going to be Wrestling Church. I'll be defending the championship at Fountains Church from 6:30, so you can come along to that. It's free entry. We don't charge for the Wrestling Church events. We get all these great stories. We can touch on Bible themes, we can touch on faith themes, we can touch on life experiences, and that's where my personal experiences come in, and being able to teach people like what Jesus says about that and what the Bible says about it, and how we can be better people and bring the faith aspect into everyday life, but using wrestling as a medium to tell those stories.
And presumably you're attracting younger people too.
Oh, we're getting everyone. We get old ladies sat front row with handbags. We get children going absolutely nuts for it. We get families. We get the working class. We get like people who are homeless coming in from the food that they get on the Saturday night. We have a free food kitchen, so they come round and get to join in the show. And we're just getting a mix of everyone. And really, this is what I think the church should be. We should be reaching everyone.
When's the next one?
October 22nd.
Right, it's a date. Thank you very much, guys. Lovely to meet you. And the We Are England special on the Bradford Church of Wrestling will be on BBC One at 7:30 tonight. It will be available on the iPlayer straight after. Now, auditions are taking place this weekend in Leeds for one of the most famous cabarets in the world, the Moulin Rouge in Paris. It's been entertaining audiences since 1889 and is home to the famous French Can-Can. Any successful applicants will get to perform as part of a troupe of 60 dancers. Nicola Rees has been along to watch.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Practising perfect composure. But behind the kicks and the splits, nerves are running high.
Focus, bam.
At the studio in Leeds, these dancers have just one chance to make an impression.
Looking for the best dancers we can find. The prettiest one, the most handsome one, and the one who wants to come and work in the Moulin Rouge in Paris.
Founded in Paris in 1889, the Moulin Rouge is one of the biggest shows of its kind. But it's here, 500 miles away in Yorkshire, that the search is on for new talents.
Down, change, boom.
It's every showgirl's dream to land the job here, so it's a big deal. Hi, I'm Erin and I'm about to audition for the Moulin Rouge.
Hi, my name's Ailey and I'm auditioning for the Moulin Rouge today.
It'd be an absolute dream, wouldn't it? I think anybody, all those tall dancers especially, to know that you can get into that line of work is really exciting, and what better place to do it than the Moulin Rouge?
The Can-Can is a must, and those who get through today's audition will be trained in Paris, joining dancers from all over the world.
I'm looking for all-round dancer, tall, very good legs that look good for the Can-Can. The longer the legs, the higher the kicks look. That's very important.
Some people might say this is a bit outdated now, this style of dancing, women wearing thongs, dancing in high heels.
You'll find most commercial dancers and pop stars are dancing in heels a lot higher than ours, G-strings. A lot of people say that the girls in our show are wearing more clothes than they would be doing on the beach. Let's put it that way. Ellie from Glasgow and Laura.
Auditions can be disappointing. After 2 hours of dancing, the candidates are measured. If you're not tall enough or flexible enough, you don't make the cut.
I got cut today, so I didn't make it through. I'm not disheartened because I know that there's things that I need to work on, and I know that next time when they're calling, I can come again and I'll have improved and worked on all the things I need to work on, which is really nice.
So we've just had to line up so she could select different heights, and then we've been selected to go into the next part now. So
Yeah, really exciting.
If you missed out today, there's another audition on Sunday, and this could be your prize. Paris and the Moulin Rouge. Nicola Rees, BBC Look North, Leeds.
Well, tall with good legs, that's Mia. How about you, Keely?
I thought you were going to ask me to do a bit of can-can then. I might get the sack if I do
at the end
that.
of the show.
Right, let's have a little look at the pictures that have been coming in through today. The sunshine breaking through the clouds here in Wharfdale in our first picture. A lovely rainbow. We're getting lots of rainbow pictures this afternoon. After that weather front went through, we had plenty of rainbows with those thundery showers. And the third picture, it was the first ever pyjama day for Wakefield Hospital. I'm glad they got out there and got a picture taken before the rain arrived. That was a charity, or is a charity that was very close to Harry's heart, so we wanted to include it this evening. You can keep your pictures coming into the BBC Weather Watchers page. Details not on your screen. There you go, the Weather Watchers page, or you can tweet me. So high pressure's building in for the weekend. So we're looking at a lot of dry and settled weather to come. I think tomorrow probably the better day of the weekend. A little bit more sunshine around, and it won't be as breezy tomorrow either. And then as we head through Sunday, we'll still be dominated by high pressure, but this band of rain starting to push in and threaten from the northwest. So it will be blustery on Sunday. That'll push through Sunday evening. And then another ridge of high pressure pushes in for the beginning of next week, turning unsettled from midweek onwards. So you can see on the satellite picture from earlier, this strip of cloud that brought us the wet and the windy weather through the middle part of the day. It brightened up nicely, but we did get quite a few heavy showers, hence the rainbows out there this afternoon. And we'll see a few of those showers rumbling on, particularly across the Pennine chain as we head through the next few hours. But generally, a lot of dry and fine weather with clear spells and a cool night, cooler than last night. Temperatures down to around 6 or 7 degrees. Let's have a quick look at those high water times. Then 4 o'clock on the dot in Bridlington and 3:23 in Whitby. So we'll start the day with plenty of sunshine. There's a small risk of the odd shower tomorrow, but I think for most places, for most of the day, it'll be dry and fine with some sunshine. A little fair weather cloud bubbling up through the middle part of the day, but it should stay dry with long spells of sunshine through the afternoon. And the breeze from today will continue to ease down through tomorrow as well. A little bit fresher, 14 or 15 degrees. Another decent day to come on Sunday, a good deal of dry and fine weather. It will be blustery on Sunday, though, with outbreaks of rain threatening from the northwest. Amanda.
Not too bad for the weekend. Thank you very much, Keely. That is it from us. Do have a lovely weekend, whatever you have planned. I'll be back with Keely for the late news and weather just after 10 o'clock. Hope you can join us then. Goodbye.